You're about to enter the Atomic Voodoo Lounge, New Stanton's one and only surreal dive bar, bringing you beauty and magic and terahertz tragic. I'm Maxwell Vegas, writer, poet, musician, and author of the soon-to-be-published novel New Stanton. Descend with me into the static buzz of late-night radio, where words and music swirl through neon dreams and drift like cigarette smoke out over dried-up prehistoric seas. Welcome back to the Atomic Voodoo Lounge, or maybe you've been lingering in the shadows like a midnight whisper. Maxwell Vegas here, and tonight we have more six-word noirs, our cocktail of the evening, music by dark entities along with some equally dark poetry, a tune by the Insect Surfers, as well as our featured story, Night Visit, by Gabriel Ostley. Tonight's sponsor is the New Stanton Public Library. Do your brain a favor if you're ever in town and stop by. See Cora for some excellent reading material. And remember, in the basement they have Mick Curry's archives. Research anything about New Stanton that's ever happened or ever will happen in the Mick Curry archives at the New Stanton Public Library. So take your place at the bar. We've been saving it for you. Order a drink and sink into tonight's entertainment. So maybe you're at a loss for what to order. How about something fruity and vibrant and dark? The vodka-based Midnight Whisper. This drink's known for its deep, alluring color and a balanced sweet and tart flavor. Here's what you need. 1.5 ounces vodka. 1/2 ounce Chambord raspberry liqueur. 1/2 ounce blue curacao. 1 ounce pomegranate juice. 1/2 ounce lemon juice. 1/2 ounce simple syrup. And a splash of club soda. Combine the vodka, Chambord, blue curacao, pomegranate juice, lemon juice, and simple syrup in a cocktail shaker filled with ice. Shake well until thoroughly chilled. Strain the mixture into a chilled cocktail glass. Top with a splash of club soda for just a touch of effervescence. And then garnish with a lemon twist or a few pomegranate seeds. Enjoy. Let's get things rolling right along with some Insect Surfers. This is Razorback off of Death Valley Coastline, 1996. They've been bringing it for a long time. Insect Surfers, Razorback. Check them out? Yeah, won't be disappointed. I found them on Apple Music. But I'm sure if you look around, you'll find Insect Surfers everywhere. Tonight's 6-word noirs. Oh, what's a 6-word noir? Well, it's our attempt to tell a story in 6 words, a story that has sort of a noirish feel or a speculative feel or maybe a little bit of both. But it communicates something directly in 6 words. Gives us a vibe, gives us an action, a character, something that we can latch onto and fill in the blanks, make it our own. I took my inspiration from tonight's featured story, Night Visit, for these 6-word noirs. Darkness softened their whispered candlelight tales. Buzzing lights sing your last halo. He fled, and almighty night swallowed. Hope you enjoyed those 6-word noirs. For those of you who think you can do just as well, if not better, I'm sending out a Maxwell Vegas challenge to all of my Substack subscribers. Come up with your best 6-word noir, 6-word speculative, or 6-word speculative noir and send them in for a chance to have yours read on an upcoming episode of the Atomic Voodoo Lounge Podcast. As the days grow shorter and there's a bit more chill in the air, we often here at the Atomic Voodoo Lounge seek out appropriate entertainment for the season. Cora at the New Stanton Public Library has sent over some dark poetry that's sure to entertain. To complement tonight's selections, I will be playing March of the Skulls by Dark Entities, available on Tabu recordings. A Coast Nightmare by Christina Rossetti. I have a friend in Ghostland, early found, me how early lost. Blood-red seaweeds drip along that coastland by the strong sea, wrenched and tossed. In every creek there slopes a dead man's islet, and such a one in every bay, all unripened in the unended twilight. For there comes neither night nor day. Unripe harvest there hath none to reap it from the watery misty place. Unripe vineyard there hath none to keep it in unprofitable space. Living flocks and herds are nowhere found there, only ghosts and flocks and shoals. Indistinguished hazy ghosts surround there, meteors whirling on their poles. Indistinguished hazy ghosts abound there, troops, yea, swarms of dead men's souls. Have they towns to live in? They have towers and towns from sea to sea. Of each town the gates are 7. Of one of these each ghost is free. Civilians, soldiers, seamen. Of one town each ghost is free. They are ghastly men, these ghostly freemen. Such a sight you may not see. How know you that your lover of death's tideless waters stoops to drink? Me by night doth moldy darkness cover. It makes me quake to think. All night long I feel his presence hover through the darkness black as ink. Without a voice he tells me the wordless secrets of death's deep. If I sleep, his trumpet voice compels me to stalk forth in my sleep. If I wake, he haunts me like a nightmare. I feel hair stand up, my body creep. Without light, I see a blasting sight there. See a secret I must keep. The Haunted Palace by Edgar Allan Poe. In the greenest of our valleys, by the good angels tenanted, once a fair and stately palace, radiant palace, reared its head. In the monarch's thoughts' dominion, it stood there. Never seraph spread opinion over fabric half so fair. Banners yellow, glorious, golden, on its roof did float and flow. All this, was in the olden time, long ago. And every gentle air that dallied in that sweet day along the ramparts, plumed and pallid, a winged odor went away. Wanderers in that happy valley, through two luminous windows, saw spirits moving musically to a lute's well-tuned law. Round about a throne where sitting Porphyrogene, in state his glory well befitting, the ruler of the realm was seen. And all with pearl and ruby glowing was the fair palace door, through which came flowing and sparkling evermore, a troop of echoes, whose sweet duty was but to sing, in voices of surpassing beauty, the wit and wisdom of their king. But evil things in robes of sorrow assailed the monarch's high estate. Ah, let us mourn, for never morrow shall dawn upon him desolate. And round about his home the glory that blushed and bloomed is but a dim remembered story of the old time entombed. And travelers now within that valley, through the red litten windows, see vast forms that move fantastically to a discordant melody, while, like a ghostly rapid river, through the pale door a hideous throng rush out forever and laugh, but smile no more. Haunted Seas by Cale Young Rice. A gleaming, glassy ocean under a sky of gray, a tide that dreams of motion or moves as the dead may. A bird that dips and wavers over lone waters round, then, with a cry that quavers, is gone, a spectral sound. The brown, sad seaweed drifting far from the land and lost, the faint, warm fog unlifting, the derelict long tossed, but now at rest, though haunted by the death-scenting shark, whose prey no more undaunted slips from it, spent and stark. A big thank you to Tabu Recordings at houseoftabu.com. Remember, Tabu is spelled Tabu, for allowing us to use March of the Skulls by Dark Entities off of their Gothica EP. And thank you to Cora at the New Stanton Public Library for sending over those deliciously dark poems. Ever see something you just couldn't explain, or been part of something that made no sense whatsoever? Kind of left you thinking, am I going crazy? Am I the crazy one here? Tonight's featured story, Night Visit by Gabriel Ostley, explores just that. A night visit. Night Visit by Gabriel Ostley. Guyver, Disco, Cheese, Feltz, and Hayward sat in the hotel's lobby bar, a group of friends sitting in artificial darkness that rivaled the night outside, while table candles provided soft pools of light. Guyver leaned back in his plush chair, his leather jacket squeaking in the shadows. I know we all talked about this before in the chat. His dark gray eyes moved about, the circle, thick glasses reflecting splashes of candlelight. But I'm very interested to hear how everybody got into this stuff. You know, UFOs, the paranormal. After a few nervous laughs rippled through the group, Guyver took a deep breath, pushed his glasses up his long nose, and began. My last year of high school, I worked at a gas station back in Indiana and stayed on a little after graduation. Worked a bunch of graveyard shifts, pretty much mundane stuff, really. Making a few pizzas, sweeping floors, minding the pumps, cleaning disgusting toilets, you know. But mostly, I got to sit at the counter and read, which made it a really great gig. Being out in the boonies, not too many customers came through except the usual night owls who'd pop in. Mostly lonely old dudes, insomniacs who'd talk your ear off if you let them. But there were long stretches of no one at all. Buzzing lights in the parking lot and nothing but trees and night sky around. The night it happened, I was at the counter reading Clive Barker's Books of Blood. A sick tale, a must-read if you haven't. I remember I suddenly stopped reading, like a strange silence descended on the place or something. It was late summer, so the nights were getting cooler, but I was compelled to go outside for some reason. So I shoved my Garfield bookmark in the book and left it on the counter, made sure my keys were in my pockets, and stepped outside, eyes glued to the sky. A tall man in a dirty gray coat stood at the edge of the lot, seemingly transfixed on the firmament. He reminded me of an auto mechanic or a bum or something, his hands and face smudged with black grease. But the craziest part was that he was Chinese. And I know it sounds stupid, but I kept thinking, I'd never seen a tall Chinese dude before. He was middle-aged, hair all over the place, and his beard shot through with streaks of white and gray. As I stood next to him, I glanced over, and we locked eyes, and then he led my attention back to the night sky with his gaze, where 4 little orange balls of light floated. Of course, now everyone uses orbs, proper nomenclature and all, and those orbs were equidistant from each other and just hung there, soundlessly. And I had the distinct impression that they were looking back at us. What are they? I asked, squinting into the darkness. Not drones. We'd have heard them, the man grumbled. The gas station, an island of light behind the two of us just standing there, staring up into the night. I really felt like we were just checking each other out until finally, one by one, each orb floated farther and farther away into the clouds and vanished. The Chinese man and I locked eyes again, studied each other's expressions, and burst out laughing. You saw it too. You saw it too. He kept laughing in between questions. I sobered up before him. You ever seen anything like that before? I asked as we walked back toward the shop's island of light. He thrust his hand out and I shook it. I'm Greg. And hell no, I've never seen anything like that before. I introduced myself, and after the pleasantries, He went and got a Pepsi and one of those mysterious frozen sandwiches all mummified in plastic. After he paid, he stared at me dead serious. "You be careful out there, Agent Mulder," he said, and then left. Seeing the orbs was strange enough, but this dude was even stranger. I'd never seen him before, and he wasn't in any vehicle either. He just walked out of the parking lot into the darkness, literally swallowed by the night. I still had the bathrooms to clean, so I got busy, and a few more customers trickled in as the sun started to rise, and I forgot about Greg, the Chinese dude. But not for long. The changing of the guard was at 7 a.m. Ready for sleep, I stumbled to my beater car and unlocked the doors. Now, this is the important part. The doors were definitely locked. It was an old Ford, but it had a key fob, and when I squeezed it, I most certainly heard the clicking sound of the doors unlocking. As I poured myself into the car, the smell of engine grease immediately assaulted me. Greg was sitting in the passenger seat. "Jesus Christ, what the hell, man? How'd you get in here?" "Sorry," he said. He looked scared, terrified even. "I can't go back to the hotel room." Up the road a piece was a newish hotel some nut had decided to build. Maybe they thought this little burb was about to blow up, but they were a few years too early. The place was almost always empty. I even had a friend who worked the hotel's front desk for a few months before he had to quit out of sheer boredom. "You've been in my car all night? What the hell? You could have just come into the station." I felt violated and more than a little freaked out. How in the hell was there a Greg in my locked car? "I'm sorry, man. I've been walking around most of the night waiting for the sun to rise. I just got back here maybe 10 minutes ago. You looked busy and I didn't want to be suspicious to the other people. Your door was unlocked. Seemed like a good idea." I stared at him. "Man, you don't even know me. Listen, I've been working all night. I'm tired. I want to go home. What the hell is the problem here?" He looked out the window and back at me. "Can we drive? I'll tell you as we drive." "You're not going to shoot me or anything, are you, Greg?" He put his hands up instantly and shook his head. It would have been funny, but he was actually pretty keyed up. Okay, Greg, where are we going?" "Anywhere. I just gotta talk to someone. I need help, man. Really, really." He was mumbling and rubbing his eyes. I was annoyed and all, but was beginning to kind of feel bad for him. I knew I should have kicked him out and told Jerry at the station to keep his eyes peeled, but I was honestly just too tired to make the effort. Putting the engine into gear, I stood on the gas. We drove through the rising morning sun, trees whipping by in a blur. "Those things, those UFOs, they followed me, man, to my hotel," Greg mumbled. For the first time, it dawned on me that Greg was very likely on something. "You on something, Greg?" "No way, man. I don't do any of that stuff no more." I parked in the hotel's lot and looked over at him, the engine idling. "Okay, so what happened? I'm tired, Greg. I just want to go home and sleep." Greg swallowed and blinked like a frightened owl. Greg's story. I walked, ate my sandwich, little midnight snack, nice cool night, little breeze. I was still thinking of those lights we saw when I got to the lobby. The night clerk was asleep at the desk. I guess it was pretty late, past 3 a.m. Took the elevator up to my room, finished the last of the Pepsi and just plopped into bed without undressing or nothing. I'm a construction worker. Live over in Elk River with my son, who's just a little older than you, looks like. Anyways, he's going off to college in a bit and wanted to have a little party at the house with his friends. One last time, you know. He's a good kid. And I got a job in town here, so I just told him to drop me at this hotel for the weekend. That was earlier last night. So I'm lying there in bed for I don't know how long. Guess long enough to space out You know, those moments right before you're deep asleep when you kind of fade in and out. Feels like a long time. But that's when I noticed something in the dark, and it was watching me. You know about sleep paralysis? I guess that's a common thing. Me, I ain't never had it before this. It's weird. Totally trapped in your body, can't move your legs, can't move nothing. I got scared maybe there was something weird in that Pepsi I just drank. Or maybe an allergic reaction or something. All I can move is my neck just a little bit, enough to kind of crane down and roll my eyes over. It's a small room, and over in the corner next to the TV and the AC unit, on the ground, there's a shadow of a small man. I can't make out any features, but he's kind of bald and gray. He slowly crawls toward me, real slow. I'm trying to scream, make any kind of noise, but he's just coming closer and closer. Now he's on the bed, and he's even smaller than I first thought, not much bigger than a cat. He's got this wrinkled gray skin, and his eyes are just these dead, soulless things. Like all the light's been sucked out of them. I'm sweating. He's on my chest. Like he wants to get up and whisper something to me, something important. I can smell sulfur. He's real close. I can feel his hairless legs brush my beard. I'm wheezing and panting and neck twitching. He doesn't make a sound, just eyes locked on mine. Suddenly there's a big swooping spotlight from outside. It hits my window, floods into my room, hits my chest with him on it, and he's gone. Just like that, poof. I can move. I jump out of bed screaming. I run to the elevator, get to the front desk. There's no desk clerk. There's nobody. I ring the bell, nothing. I run outside, and there's those 4 floating lights again. It's too much. I start running. I think maybe you'll understand. I wasn't dreaming. It was real. I run back to the gas station, over to your car. That's it. That's my story. That's the end of Greg's story. I'm sorry, MacGyver. It's just Guyver. Needed to get that off my chest. I feel better. That face, those eyes, damn, the whole thing. It was just too much. Thanks for the ride back. You don't need to trouble yourself with me no more. I know you gotta get back home. I'll call my son. He thrust his hand out, and we shook on it. I appreciate it. I sat there numbly as he got up and slammed the door. I let it soak in a while. He stumbled back to the hotel. Then I looked over and saw it. He'd left his wallet on the seat. I called out, but too late. He was already going through the main sliding doors. I snatched it up, got out, and ran towards them. He wasn't in the lobby, no desk clerk either. I rang the bell, and just like Greg did earlier, I got nothing. I debated leaving it on the desk, but knew that was a bad idea. Might as well print a sign next to it, free money. So I went to the elevator. I flipped open his old faded leather wallet, and just as I suspected, there was his key card. How did he get in the elevator and up to his room without it? I didn't know. But I took it out, and it said, room 732. I beeped it in the elevator and went up to his floor. I beeped it again at the door, and it opened to reveal a perfectly pristine guest room. The bed made, the sheets tight, not a speck of dust on the table, immaculate bathroom. It made no sense. I opened the wallet again, and this slow wave of dread washed over me. Only the key card and about $100 in cash, no license, no credit cards, nothing to identify this guy. Seriously spooked, I went back to the front desk, and boom, there was the desk clerk, a bald guy in a sloppy dress shirt and too wide tie. I argued with him, but he had no idea who I was talking about, never saw the guy before in his life, didn't know how I got the room key, which he wanted back, thank you very much, and I was the crazy one. I won't bore you all with the details, but we got the police involved, looked at the security tapes, and Greg never showed up once. Like he never existed. He mentioned living in Elk River, so for a few weeks after that, I would drive there, visit the construction sites, basically did everything I could to try to find Greg. Well, I did it mostly to prove that I hadn't lost my mind. Never found him. Still don't know what happened that night. I doubt I ever will. The 5 friends sat stunned in the lounge's soft darkness. So, Disco finally said, "What do you think happened? I mean, what do you tell yourself so you can sleep at night?" Guyver took his glasses off and rubbed the bridge of his nose. Something obviously happened that night. It changed me. Suddenly, I realized there was a lot out here, in our own world, our lives, we know nothing about. For a long time, I thought about ghosts. "That's what I was going to say," Cheese said. "Or some kind of time displacement experience, full temporal displacement." Guyver nodded. "Yeah, believe me, I looked at about everything, and I don't discount anything." He barked a wounded laugh. "Not anymore." I want to thank Mr. Gabriel Ostley for submitting Night Visit for our consideration here at the Atomic Voodoo Lounge. Coming soon from Heavy Sixer Productions, New Stanton, a novel by Maxwell Vegas. Mr. Harold Dean, a shady alcoholic, just woke up with one hell of a hangover at the Starlight Inn, New Stanton's dingy motel. The only problem is, New Stanton doesn't exist. Join Mr. Dean on this postmodern night journey through buried memories, liminal spaces, and treachery as he searches for his sole means of escape, a blue 1964 Chevy Malibu. Will he be able to find his car before the evil Dr. Freytag does? Can Mr. Dean trust a host of bizarre characters to help him solve the mysteries of his own dysfunction and accept that New Stanton is exactly where he needs to be? The answer to these questions and many more lies scattered across New Stanton, a town that sits on the edge of a dried-up prehistoric sea, a town that exists inside and down. That brings us to the close of tonight's episode of the Atomic Voodoo Lounge Podcast. Let the midnight whispers carry you off to the Terahertz Gap. I'm Maxwell Vegas, and thank you for listening. Stay tuned for more Atomic Voodoo Lounge stories, music, poetry, and whatever else we can dream up. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe and spread the good word. And if you are interested in contributing or being a sponsor, drop me a line and we can discuss the specifics. And don't forget, our 6-word noir challenge is open to all Substack subscribers. Check out the Atomic Voodoo Lounge on Substack and subscribe. Find out more about Maxwell Vegas and Heavy Sixer Productions at heavysixerproductions.com or maxwellvegas.com. Miss Cora, the librarian at the New Stanton Public Library, says, "Do your brain a favor and read something." A big shout out goes to our musical entertainment for this evening, Insect Surfers, Razorback. Check them out at insectsurfers.com. Also, Dark Entities, at House of Tabu's Tabu Recordings. Just go to houseoftabu.com, and remember, Tabu is spelled Tabu. I'd also like to thank Mad Gravity Studio for their tune Shady. We used that under the 6-word noirs this evening. You can check them out at mgstudio.org. All words and music composed, read, and or performed by Maxwell Vegas unless otherwise stated. All text, music, and performances copyright Heavy Sixer Productions, LLC, 2025. Some sound effects used under Creative Commons license. And as always, the Atomic Voodoo Lounge is not for AI bots. Please keep your AI bots and AI training away from the atomicvoodoolounge.com. Thank you. I'm Maxwell Vegas, and good night.